Well, good morning, everybody. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day out here. How you doing there, Howdy?
I'm good. How are you, buddy?
Not bad at all. Are you still wore out? Your arm's a little sore?
Oh, from last night?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't too bad, really. I had my force feedback set right, so I was just kind of chilling, and I ended up switching strategies, like, because I was back in 40. I think at one time I was like 55th or 56th or something like that.
You were, yes.
So I was like, all right, I'm just going to try to help Prilliman out, and I just started hitting people.
There you go. Hey, whatever it takes to get it done. Hey, it works out there for you. And, hey, you guys, you had a blast there in Enduro. No cautions, no
Nope.
damage, just all fun is what I was saying out in the booth there last night. So we had a blast doing that. They raised over $800 for the Toys for Tots there. So a fantastic charity event last night. You had some fun. I had a blast. He said,
yeah, that was a good time. I never ran nothing like that before. That was my first time, so that was pretty crazy.
Dwayne's right, coming in hot with the Dwayne getting an arm, or Chris getting an arm workout.
Got jokes this morning, huh, Dwayne?
Oh man! Hey, with Dwayne in here, I guess we'll hop right into IndyCar action here. And boy, oh boy, some big news coming out of the what is this, the Vassar Sullivan coin team here, as Ferrucci, he's not technically signed yet, right?
Okay.
So he comes out this week and says, you know what? I think I want to dip my toe in a little NASCAR, maybe the Bristol Dirt Race, maybe the Charlotte Roval, maybe do a little action over in NASCAR. So he's still going to, everybody thinks he is pretty much a solid lockdown for that IndyCar seat there with the 18, I believe is what he's in, that seal coat. So, but he's saying, he wants to dip his toe, and he had that connection with Stewart back in the day because he was a developmental driver with Haas. And I guess when Stewart did the helmet switch with Hamilton back at Watkins Glen back in the day, Ferrucci was invited out there by Stewart to kind of take in a NASCAR race, stuff like that. So pretty interesting news coming out of there. And we've talked about it before. I don't want to see him go. I don't want to see him leave. But, man, he's a guy that he was in the Chili Bowl. He ran that. He wants to run, like I said, the Bristol Dirt Race. So this guy, he's involved with racing. He's a wheelman. It could be interesting. What's your take on seeing Ferrucci possibly make a run here in a Cup car here?
Oh, I'm down for it. Like I said, he's a racer, man. I mean, he'll hop in anything and drive it. Is he going to go to the front in a dirt race? I don't know, maybe not, but he'll give it everything he's got, and he'll drive the hell out of the car. And yeah, going back to his IndyCar ride, I don't see why they would look at anybody else but Santino Ferrucci, because honestly, I think he should be on a different team than what he's on. But yeah, I think I'm all for him doing some NASCAR stuff, and I'd love to see him in some more dirt stuff. I mean, hey, hop in a late model. Go sling some dirt in a late model or something. I'd love to see that too.
Right, yeah, because he took, like I said, that dirt midget chance or that run there at the Chili Bowl. Excuse me. And it'd be interesting to see what he could do with that Cup car. So he pretty much said, though, I don't want to go out and really make my first run a regular asphalt oval. So I understand that, because at the end of the day, you look at Ferrucci, he's not a huge guy, so he would definitely have to kind of beef up a little bit when it came to muscle, I believe, to kind of wheel that NASCAR, that heavier style of a car around. That's what we saw. I think that was Danica's big downfall, is she didn't have the muscle really to wheel that heavy NASCAR around compared to that Indy car.
But see, I think Ferrucci's a pretty fit guy. I mean,
he's fit.
I think he could definitely hustle the NASCAR around, even though he is a little bitty dude. But I think he'll be fine. I mean, you look at Allmendinger. He's put on a little weight now, but he's still not heavy. But Allmendinger's a little bitty guy. There's a lot of drivers out there. I mean, TK's a little guy, but he's fit. So I think he would have no problem.
Yeah, but TK's built like a brick house. So I mean, you look at TK, he's got muscles, man. He's got some arms, he's got some legs. So you see Dwayne saying you might see him get an opportunity there to do there. So and to touch on that, Jason, yeah, he's not going to be running ovals, but it is official now that Tony Kanaan will take those 3 ovals and run. And he said to take this opportunity and not get a win with Ganassi is going to be a failure to me. So I really hope, and I think that Ganassi really gives TK a solid ride, a solid opportunity here in his last 500.
But, here's my thing with that. I get where TK's coming from, and I agree. If he doesn't get a win, that's a failure, being on, running a Ganassi ride like that. But you look at how many years was TK with Ganassi? 5?
Oh, and he got some solid wins, I think. Or no, he won with Andretti, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he really didn't produce that many results when he was with Ganassi. So, I mean, I'm not bad-mouthing TK. I know he's a fan favorite, but I just don't see him getting a win.
I mean, I think given that Ganassi ride, you're given the best opportunity in the field at what you have, your age, what you're given, what you've been given in the ride with Foyt in the past. That right now it's a huge upgrade to you, and I feel like he sees that and he knows that. Hey, the fans, like you said, he's a fan favorite. The fans want to see TK in victory lane, either at Texas, Indy, or Gateway, whatever it be next year.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know they do, but I don't see it happening. I don't see him getting it done. And like I said, I'm not putting Tony down at all. I think he's a great guy. He's a hell of a driver, but he's past his prime. And even though he's in that Ganassi ride, like I said, when he ran for Ganassi, he couldn't get it done when he was on the team. So I don't see him getting it done.
But so it'd be interesting to see there. I'm trying to think as we're in the that's what Tim, we're going to talk about that. Absolutely. That's what I was going to say as we're ending out this IndyCar talk. Can you think of anything else? I think we really hit on the big sections there of IndyCar for this week.
Yeah, there's not much going on in IndyCar right now unless Dwayne knows something we don't know.
Oh, I'm sure he does. Whether Dwayne can tell us something that we don't know is the better thing to say there. So we look for cheap before. He says cheap. So he only had one win there with Ganassi. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see, but then again, you look at just the I think the one big thing is the what was I going there? Oh, you got Dixon still competing for a championship in that team. They're obviously 90% of that focus is going towards that number 9.
Oh, most definitely.
So, I mean, we got people asking about it. I saw it. You saw it. It was an incredible show of safety here in Bahrain. And I'm going to touch on this. And I know what they were saying as far as the guardrail being there. So if you didn't see it, Roman Grosjean was in a terrible accident this morning. And he ended up, he came down on the first lap, got involved with somebody else, clipped the tires, and when that happened, it sent him into the metal guardrail that was about 4 feet off of the track. And their explanation to this was, well, that's not a normal wreck area. That's not a normal runoff area. At the end of the day, I don't care. These guys are going 180 miles an hour. You got to be prepared for that car to go off the track at any point in time. You could have a blowout at any certain area on that track. So to have that happen is kind of a downplay on Bahrain and their crews. But let's talk about the innovation of the Red Bull Halo, because, man, without that, Roman Grosjean, I hate saying it like this, but without that, Roman Grosjean, they would have found his head in that wreckage.
Yeah, he would have been done.
100
would have been game up for him. So, now here's my question on that, and not to try to get away from this wreck, but going to another wreck that happened, the Stroll wreck, and talking about the Halo. That's why I'm bringing this up.
Yep, another.
So I noticed when they flipped the car back over and was towing it off, how the Halo was pretty skinned up. Now, my question is, and they even asked it during the broadcast, but there was never a definite answer given. Is that a replaceable part, or do they have to replace the whole chassis when that happens? Which Racing Point's director was saying, well, we have another chassis back here, so if that's what we need to do, we have when we're ready. Well, you're not answering the question. When any integral damage is done to the Halo, is that something they can just unbolt and replace it? Or do you have to replace the whole chassis?
I want to say in the IndyCar side of things, the aero screen is something that can be unbolted from the IndyCar, and you can switch that aero screen on and off. I don't know if that's the same with that, because if you look at Roman Grosjean's wreck there, that Halo, it's charred, it's burnt, but it's
intact.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I don't know how, because he shot under that guardrail. And like I said, I can't say it enough. He, Danny got a 10-second penalty, I see, from Scott saying that with that incident with Stroll there. So,
really? I don't think he should have got a penalty at all.
I think that's a rough incident there. I think they were side by side going into that turn, and Stroll at that point, I don't know, man. I think he's pushing it too hard. If you don't, and say if I'm wrong, people tell me I'm wrong. But if you don't have daddy's money behind you as Lance Stroll, you're not pitching that car in places that he is, because you're not going to have a ride.
I agree with you. And like we were discussing before the show, if Stroll would have just been patient, give Kvyat room in that situation. And like I said, even if Kvyat got by Stroll needs to have confidence in his car that he has a better car than the AlphaTauri. And I believe he does have a better car than the AlphaTauri. So, worst case scenario, Kvyat gets by you right there. You're still both racing on, and you get him back. So Stroll needs to learn patience. But I agree with what you're saying. I think if it wasn't his dad owned the team and having that behind him, in any other ride, he probably would not have a ride right now.
Exactly. I mean, he is the mix of Charles Leclerc, as you like to say, and Max Verstappen in their rookie year. I mean, you take those two, you combine them, and you multiply it by 10, and you get Lance Stroll. And like I said, I think a lot of that is no, I don't. Brad's gonna back up Stroll. He's gonna back up Stroll to the day he dies here. But I think at the end of the day, you're not pitching that ride where you do like that if you don't have dad's checkbook behind you, if dad's not your boss.
Right. But going back to Brad's comment, I disagree because I thought Kvyat was at least okay, I mean, F1 cars don't have doors, but
he's right to the driver. He's right. That front wheel is to the driver, yeah.
So at that point, I think that Stroll needs to, give him a little more room. And like you had said before the show, Kvyat was down as low as he could go. He couldn't go any lower, or he had to cut the corner and then got a penalty for that. I think it was hard racing. I think Stroll needs to learn to give and take a little bit. Like I said, he has a better car. If he had gave a little bit and you both continue to race, instead you wanted to do what you did, you're out of the race. Hey. Kvyat got a 10-second penalty, but guess what?
He's still running.
Point.
Right, absolutely. And like you said, to your point here, look up in third place. Perez is in that Racing Point car, and he's wheeling it in third. So you do have a solid car behind you. Just learn a little bit of patience. And this is something I like to put on myself here when we iRace is if I get in a wreck, I figure out, even if it was the other person's fault 100%, like we'll say Matt Constant. I know Jason Crack, he's on here. He knows exactly what I'm talking about here. The other day, I had somebody just park it in the racing line. I mean, just park it. And he said, I was trying to let you go. Well, okay. In my mind, at that point, I didn't know what I could do to avoid that. But you go back and you look and you see as a driver, even though it was 100% on the other driver, what you could have done to get yourself out of that situation, to put yourself in and around. So I was coming up on a turn to a slower driver. Yep. I tried to give it under, try to go, but instead there was a long straightaway coming up. I should have waited. I should have been patient. I shouldn't have tried to push it like I was, and I wouldn't have ended up in the back end of him when he hit the brakes trying to give me way. But at the end of the day, I think it does come down to that. Even though it might not be your fault, you have to look back at a wreck and say, what could I have done here to put myself in a better situation and not end up here? And I think you're exactly right. You have to be patient. You have to calm down. You have to. I think a lot of it's in his head. He had a good start here. He's fallen off big time, and he's starting to overdrive the heck out of this car.
I agree. I think he's seen what Perez has been pretty consistent in that Racing Point ride, and definitely produced some better results than Stroll. So I think he's feeling that pressure, which I don't know why, because Daddy's not going to fire him.
Exactly.
I mean, is it he knows that Vettel's coming in next year and he's trying to make sure he wants to be the number one car and Vettel number two? I don't know. But he like you said, he needs to learn some patience. He needs to calm down and just drive and race and have confidence in your car and your driving abilities that you're the better driver and you have the better car.
Right. Absolutely. I think it does. It comes down exactly to that. Now, if you're in an AlphaTauri, or not an AlphaTauri, I'm sorry, if you're in an Alfa Romeo, you're in a Williams, that's where you got to pitch the car. You got to throw it in there
Drive over the top.
Exactly. But you've got the car this year. You really, if you're not making these careless moves, you're sitting in third in the constructors title. Maybe even second, because your teammate is so consistent.
I 100% agree with that.
So I don't know. I think at the end of the day, it's you gotta be able to look back and try to avoid that situation there, but it does. I think it comes back, and you look. Scott and I when we were watching that, we saw Lance pull right back onto the track, and he doesn't just like come back onto the inside lane. He goes across the entire track, and guys have to woe it down. It's like, what are you doing, man? It's like he's seriously, like Tim Christensen said, he must be watching some iRacing. He must be partaking in some of this shenanigans on iRacing as these guys join the track back on a road course. And you can't do that. It's just these guys are coming extremely fast behind you. You're going to get somebody hurt or get yourself.
Yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, you know, you did two things. You tore up your car, so that's gonna have to be repaired or replaced, one or the other, and you're out of the race. So, I mean, until you can learn to calm down, and learn some patience, and there's gonna be unavoidable situations. I understand this; it's racing, but some of the situations that Stroll has been in, he could have avoided.
100% there. I completely agree with you. So we move on here. I think, do you got any other F1 news? I think, I mean, Hamilton's closing in on 100 poles. He could get 100 poles. Exactly. Scott's saying running D-Fix here. He's doing stuff like he did. Hamilton's closing in on 100 poles. And Scott asked the question this morning when we're sitting there watching F1, and we've touched on it here on the show, but I think the question gets risen every F1 race now is how much longer does Lewis Hamilton stay in this? How much longer do you think? And I told Scott, I think next year, possibly this year, is going to be his last one, because I don't think he's going to want to run in the new standard of F1, but at the same time, I could see him still wanting to give it 1 year just to show that he is a driver, that he did deserve all these titles, and try to win, and hope he doesn't crash that reputation.
You know, I see it in two different ways. From one side of me, part of me wants to say that he's going to call it quits after this season. He's broken all these records. He's won 7 championships. You know, they're changing the new cars next year. And like you said, he don't want to deal with it. But part of me says that Mercedes has come to him and said, hey, Lewis, here's the deal. We need you to stick around, you know, next year and really help us try to develop this new car. We need your input. So I can see him maybe sticking around for another year or two. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised at the end of the season, he just says, hey, you know what? I've won 7 championships. I've had a great career in F1. It's time for me. I'm young enough. I'm going to walk away, and I'm going to do other things in my life.
Yeah, absolutely there. And to Scott's comment there, he does. He has nothing left to prove in his career. I think at the end of the day, his personality has changed a lot throughout the years. He doesn't see himself needing these plush, these posh things like he used to live, that lavish lifestyle, stuff like that. So he doesn't do that anymore. He sold that jet. He's looking into the environment. He's kind of changed his whole philosophy almost as he got higher up in the F1 world, the higher up in the wealth, his own personal wealth, but
the higher in his maturity level.
Right. I think it all comes in the same level there. So do I see him possibly making a run at Formula E? If the money's there, I could definitely see it, because I could see him wanting to kind of grow that series as a whole, because of his number one, his love for racing. There's no doubt he loves racing. Number two, his new view, philosophy, excuse me, whether you agree with it or not, on the environment. So I really see him pushing Formula E and possibly becoming a big name, a big face spokesman for that series.
Okay, but on the flip side of that, I can see him doing that, but not racing in Formula E. I can see him taking on a role as the president or race director or however you want to put him in there. But he could be somebody, one of the higher ups in Formula E, and like you said, to help develop, promote, and make sure this series is around. So I could see Lewis stepping into a role like that.
That's very.
I don't see him racing in Formula E, but I could see him taking a role on like that.
And that's very true there, too, because, I mean, at the end of the day, put yourself, and this goes out to you guys, not Howdy, because I know Howdy agrees with me in this, but put yourself in that guy's shoes. Do you want to put yourself in another car? And you're getting older. I mean, the life happens. Time happens. You can't pause it. We've been trying to do that forever. But you lose some of that hand-eye coordination, that reaction time, what makes you fast as a driver, you lose with age. So does Lewis want to see himself or be remembered as a guy that kind of ended on a downfall? I don't think so. I think he wants to be known as the guy that ended up here at the top of the mountain. He's screaming. He threw the flag in. He said, I'm done. So I could see exactly what you're saying there. Maybe become I don't know, a president of that series, but just like you said, a huge spokesman there, because I think, like I said, it speaks to his love for racing. At the end of the day, he was so involved in karting. He still is very involved in karting. So I definitely could see something like that.
And what better ambassador to have for a series like Formula E? I mean, people are going to look up, respect, and listen to what Lewis has to say. He's 7-time F1 champion, broke all these records. I mean, so if you really want that series to grow, I would say that would be one of the best moves that series could make, would try to bring Lewis Hamilton into that role.
Right. Oh, and I know what you're saying there, AC. I'm not saying Mark Martin. I mean, he's a great example. The dude could wheel it. He's still wheeling it at his age. But you look at the majority of that guy. You can't even Danny over there, the 70-year-old. You put him up against Larson on the dirt. You put him up against Bell on the dirt. Those guys are just going to react faster. Faster. That's just life. You put him up against a Brandon Shepard, something like that. And that's just what happens, unfortunately, I think. But I'm not saying that all old guys are slow. Don't take me the wrong way there. I know this old guy's slow. But when you're going up, and I feel it, trust me, when I'm 30, 31, 32 years old racing with guys that are 19, 20, there's a difference. Do I want it as bad? Oh, yeah. But do I have the what's the word? I just the stamina, I don't know. It's yeah, man. It's tough. These guys want to chew you out, eat you, and go to the next guy. Where I'm just looking to get a little full. So it's just,
how do you think I feel? I'm gonna be 48 stepping in a cart again.
But at that point, you're with older guys, so you're in that group kind of. I'm at the end of the age group for my group. So that's what I'm saying with as far as the age goes, is I see a huge difference from the 19-year-old. Even if I'm following him, even if I have his cart, he's going to be a little faster than me just because of his age, I think. If we have the exact same talent, if that's what I'm trying. Obviously, there's a lot of factors that go into it, but I do think age plays a little bit of factor in there. Now I'm getting all the old guys on here like, screw you.
Yeah, I mean, I see both sides of that argument, because there are some older drivers that are still fast. I mean, but as far as talking about Lewis Hamilton, can he still drive? Yes, there's no doubt about it. But like you were saying, he's not going to go run and be mediocre. If he can't if he can't contend for wins, poles, championships, Lewis Hamilton's not going to do it. He doesn't need to. Like Scott said earlier, he's got nothing left to prove, and he doesn't. He could walk away right now, very wealthy, had a great career, won 7 championships, broke the records in race wins, broke the records in poles, always been in good cars. So, what's he got left to prove?
Exactly.
The only thing that I could see keeping Lewis in F1 maybe 1 or 2 more years is if he went to Ferrari. And we've had this discussion before, just because when you get into F1, that's everybody's dream and goal when they get into F1. They want to run for Ferrari. Even though Ferrari's a mediocre team right now, all them guys still want to race for Ferrari. So that would be the only thing I would see Lewis staying for, was to run for Ferrari. But there again, the team that Ferrari is now, I don't think Lewis would, switch from Mercedes to go run for Ferrari now, because he wouldn't be competing for wins, championships, poles. So I think he's going to, saddle up his horse, hop on, ride away in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, I think 2 years ago when Chummy was stepping out, if they would have grabbed Lewis then, he would have walked over in a heartbeat. I think the money could have been right. You could have gotten him. But now, like you said, yeah, I do. I think it's just too little too late here. So at the end of the day, that's what I think. And we'll stick on F1. We've talked on Roman here, and there's a little news on him, but after this wreck today, you wonder if he's ever going to step into an open wheel car like this again. But I guess they were getting very close to finalizing some talks here with Grosjean coming to America, doing a little IndyCar racing with AJ Foyt there. So we'll see if those talks still proceed, and see if he can find himself at a 3-car team there with AJ Foyt. Grosjean's going to bring some money.
Oh, most definitely.
But does Grosjean still want to race after today? It's hard when you got to actually physically clean the poop out of your fire suit, and then you're going to the hospital. That's hard to really get back in there.
It was a little charred.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was like a doorstep one.
Yeah, it was like petrified poop.
So I think that's really gonna have to wait and see how that happens, because I think we're done seeing Grosjean in F1. I don't know who's going to fill that seat at Haas now. I don't know if Mick Schumacher steps up.
They were talking about Fittipaldi.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were talking about Fittipaldi would possibly take that seat, for the remainder of this year. And they did throw out Schumacher's name. And there was another name they threw out too, but they were really, pushing towards Fittipaldi would take that seat.
Very nice there, because I know obviously Haas is one of those under teams there of Ferrari, so Schumacher would have a kind of a good shoe in, no pun intended there, with Haas. But do you want to start right there with that team kind of in what they're going through? So it's kind of a toss up there for Mick, and seeing if that's really what he wants to do with his career, how he wants to get it going there. But we saw what Leclerc did in an Alfa Romeo, and I think he did a solid job wheeling that thing up there, and he proved his seat there with Ferrari, and that's where he's at now.
Well, we saw what Mick's dad did in a Benetton.
Right, absolutely.
He started out in a Ferrari. He started out in a Benetton, so and won his first championship in a Benetton. So, is Haas going to contend for a championship? I doubt it. But at the same time, you get in there and you can prove what you can do and let other teams, see you. Basically, you're putting your talent, out for everybody to see. You're showcasing your talent. So, and a team like Ferrari, I don't know of a driver in a lot of years that has come into F1 and stepped right into a Ferrari. They've been with other teams before they got with Ferrari.
Right.
So,
people thought it was crazy that Leclerc, at the age he was, stepped into a Ferrari, even though he had that 1 year backing with Alfa Romeo.
Well, and I think, everybody knew that's where Charles Leclerc was going to go, was Ferrari, because of his ties with
Jules.
oh yes, because Jules was his uncle, or like his uncle. I don't remember if it
Godfather.
was next to his uncle. But and Jules and Ferrari had a good relationship, so that's where everybody knew Charles was going to end up there. So,
and like I said, you saw him, even though they knew they wanted him and they knew that Kimi was going to step out, they put him in that Alfa Romeo for that first year to give him that sense of comfortability, to give him that sense of kind of knowledge and awareness in an F1 car before he did hop into what you would consider the big leagues there in F1 in that top 3 kind of ride there.
Exactly. So I think that's all we got for F1 today, huh?
That is all no, we got one more. The other Haas driver here. We'll use this as a little transition. So we talk about Ganassi grabbing an IMSA team, going to run that Cadillac. Well, it's not Chevy, it's still GM. And we're going to see a Magnussen back in IMSA here as Kevin Magnussen signs with Chip Ganassi to run that IMSA team in that Cadillac for the first year. Like I said, his dad was very famous in that Corvette, so he's still in that GM backing here. So it'll be interesting to see.
And his dad was a stud in IMSA. Jan Magnussen, if you're not familiar with who he is, go back and you can YouTube, I'm sure, and it'll show you some highlights or even watch races. But that dude was a beast in IMSA. And, with Kevin stepping in, I know I'm just as excited as you are because we both love IMSA racing. And, I'm glad to see that Cadillac's still going to be around with the team like Chip Ganassi Racing. They're not going to do it half-assed. It's going to be a good ride. And depending who teams up with Magnussen, they got a legit shot at running for a championship next year.
Yep, I completely agree with you. And I mean, we did talk about it a couple weeks ago. What a sight it would be to see the old Magnussens together in a 24-hour race, something like that. Because heck, his dad's only a couple years out of IMSA. He can make a run back here, maybe step in there with Chip, and whoo.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. IMSA's been getting better, just like IndyCar, year after year after year. Both of those series have been getting better. They're growing. I like where both series are going, and especially, everybody knows we're huge IndyCar fans, but I'm a big IMSA fan too. I love the sports car. I love the sports car type racing, all the different cars that are in there. And I love that, these drivers are coming into that series. And, that for years people thought, sports cars, that's, no. There's some legit drivers in IMSA right now. And if you haven't watched an IMSA race in a while, do yourself a favor and start watching again, because the races I watched this year, and you watched too, they've been great races. I have no complaints. I really love where the series is headed.
Yeah, these guys are going side by side. I mean, they're racing for the lead. People want to talk about F1 being a follow the leader. Well, I mean, IMSA this year, it's been a lot of racing up in the front, a lot of fun action there. So definitely, yeah, I agree. I think the sport, it was looking a little gloomy there for them, but they've pulled it together. They've really pushed it forward, and they've got something going here. So I was yawning there, Dan. But as I say that, I let one out. Excuse me. But I think IMSA now with Ganassi coming in, we saw Penske leaving there. I thought that was going to be a problem, but yeah, they're picking that ball up right where they left it. So I think that's a good sign for IMSA going forward. And really, like you said, Ganassi's found himself a solid driver. Because hey, what if you throw Jimmy Johnson over that way too for a run with Magnussen? Whoa, look out!
I mean, just think of this. What if you got Magnussen, Dixon, and Jimmy Johnson all in that team for one car? That's a lineup right there. That
Absolutely.
is a lineup.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you would take Dixon away from his team that he's been running with. Now, granted, they do get signed there still with, heck, I'm trying to think of those guys that he's been running with on that Wayne Taylor team.
It's Juan Barbosa, isn't it?
Barbosa, and who's the other, the Japanese driver?
Oh, yeah, what's his name? I can't think of it right now. I always want to say Pippo Durrani, but Pippo Durrani doesn't run for Wayne Taylor.
Yeah, I can't think, because he did that night stint in the 24-hour Daytona and just
and it up.
Yeah, he did. So, yeah, I think that'll be a solid team right there. You've got great drivers behind you, and what better way to get a start here? Not a start, but get the ball rolling again, I should say, in IMSA, because Ganassi's been in and out of IMSA. We've seen this before. So,
and who drove for Ganassi and IMSA before? Scott Pruitt.
Really?
Oh, yeah. One of the winningest IMSA drivers ever.
Very nice there. So we look forward to seeing a little IMSA action, as I believe they'll be getting there. Is the 24-hour Daytona, is that their first race of the year? No. Do they do another? I can't think off the top of my head now.
I believe it is the 24-hour.
That might be the first one of the season. So I'm looking forward to getting this IMSA year going here. It should be a good one. And now let's talk a little iRacing.
Let's do that. And before we get into that real fast, I want to give a couple of little notables here. I thought it was kind of cool that Friday night, Jimmy Owens Racing, I've been following my guy. He's number 20, got his 20th win in 2020.
Nice.
Yeah, he won at 411 Friday night. So congrats to that team. And another thing, I want to give a big shout out to Matt Burpo. I had my chassis at the shop this week, and Bill was doing some work on it and called and was like, hey, da-da-da-da. So I posted on one of the 206 pages. Burpo, he replied, and we got chatting back and forth in Instant Messenger, and he's answered a lot of questions for me. He's been really helpful. So, and that's what racing should be about, racers helping other racers. But Matt, if you're on here and watching, I appreciate all the help and the answers you've given me. Thank you.
Absolutely there, because I know he's helped me out at the track. I've just asked a couple questions around that area, and he is very quick to respond and stuff like that. So, yeah, he's one of those guys out there you like to have on your side. No doubt about that. So, yeah, we talk a little bit of iRacing, and this is the man I was going to talk about. Chris Standridge is the Outcast Sprint League that I get to call. They're splitting it up here. They're doing a little gold series and a silver series. I like that. Kind of an interesting way to get this going. So the top 10 carts are sprints are all gonna be into a pile here in the gold series, and then you have to race your way in from the silver series to get yourself into that. So it's gonna be a lot of. I think that really keeps it competitive. Really keeps it going here. So kind of a nice, unique deal that they have going over there in the Outcast League. And what a fun league it seems to be in. It was a little rougher this week, but hey, you're going to have that. It was a smaller track here. The first week went off almost flawless here on CWTV. So you're going to choke up a little bit after you have such a good first race.
Yeah, and I actually ran in it Monday night, which the gold and silver, I like the idea. The only thing I don't like about it is I have to be in the silver series.
Well, you could race your way in there real quick.
Right. But, it was a fun group of guys to race with Monday night, so I did enjoy it. And, I love running the sprint cars, so I'll probably be running with them guys for a while.
Absolutely. The 360s they got going on now are going to move from what was before the show is now going to be after. So I look forward to possibly running a little 360 action with these guys. Like I said, it seems like a great group of guys to run with there. And that's what you always just try to find yourself in some good leagues here on iRacing, because somebody, I think it was Brumbelow, I saw, he says some wish we could run silver. That's good. What was I saying there?
Below.
Yeah, he was saying, somebody was asking, like, what's the best setup shop? What's the best, this and that, things to get yourself faster. And I agree with the setup shops. Don't get me wrong. If you don't want to put your time into a setup, then, hey, call Rocket Racing Setups. Call one of those guys. But if not, what Brumbelow said, I think, is the key factor to iRacing and having fun and really getting better. Find yourself a good group of guys that you enjoy running with, that you have fun with, that you can get in a lobby, you can chat with, you can just do that, and you're going to get faster. You're going to sit there and you're going to tune these cars together. You're going to learn these things as you go, and it makes it a lot more enjoyable if you're sitting there. So you don't always have to, like guys that will post on Facebook, who's looking for a teammate? Well, you don't need to force yourself into a group of guys that are already like the good old boys club. You find yourself a good old boys club of your own and just go out of there. That's the way I think too many of these guys are looking for teams to join to get these quick setups and stuff like that. And from what I've found out, and I'm sure you have as well, like Brooks says, it's just practice. It's getting in there. And if you're going to practice, it's not as fun. So you're going to have some good guys there and some good group of stuff to go with.
Yeah, I agree. Practice is definitely the biggest part of it. And I know you're on a lot more than I am, so you found, some guys that you enjoy racing with. I know Scott and all the guys over at ECRS, you race with them a lot.
I don't know if I enjoy racing with Scott, but I do race. No.
I was just trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. But, and that's my downside. I need to get on more and get racing with guys, which, I have been on Sundays with Slide Job Sunday. I try to run the 305s and 360s on Sundays. So, I've gotten to know some of those guys and I have fun. I mean, I think, both of us, you take a year ago when we started to versus now, I
can hold a line in a midget now. I mean, it's a whole new world.
Right. So and why? Because we've practiced. We've got on here. We ran races. We ran laps. I mean, I know myself. I've sat on there and just been in a test session by myself and ran lap after lap after lap after lap until I figured out what I was doing wrong and correcting it.
Right, absolutely. There. So, and that's something like, also too. I mean, you find yourself a league that's solid. Like we've done. Why are we better in dirt? Well, because we ran the best dirt league, which call us stupid because we didn't know any better getting into this, but we joined the best dirt league right off the bat and we go at it there. So I just think it's part of it. Join a good league. If you're getting beat, don't worry about it. You should be worrying about why you're not learning. That's the thing that I see is like Triscuits, Chummy, old Ritz, whatever you want to call it, the snack of the week. We need to have a Chummy Miller snack of the week here on Checkers and Records. But Chummy Motorsports, that's a guy, I've said it many a times. You want to have some fun, you want to get on, just cut it up with a guy, and he's going to teach you. He really is. You see him, and I'm not throwing him down here, but he'll tell you himself, even like the 305s at Monsters of Dirt, there's times that he'll throw it in there, and you just get a little nervous when you're working in a league of a lot faster guys. But, man, he got on a midget track with me at Weed Sport, and he got me to find a line. He got me to understand really that throttle control. So it's you just got to find guys you enjoy talking to, getting on there with. That's how you find these teams. That's how you find these teammates. I hate the post on Facebook, who's looking for a teammate? It's like, so you're looking for sets.
Right.
That's the way I look at that.
Guys to race with to make me faster.
Exactly.
And on the dirt side of things, like you said, we found Monsters of Dirt and we ran with them. And now we have, Outcast, Kings of Sling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a few different dirt leagues that we race with now that, I feel in 305s, and I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I feel I can go out and run top 10.
Right.
And that's just because I've ran with Monsters of Dirt and got my butt kicked for a long time.
Exactly.
But when I was getting my butt kicked, I watched and I learned and I studied what these guys were doing.
Exactly.
It helped me out. Then on the asphalt side of things, running with ECRS, running with the Pricks of Pavement, running with series like that. And then there again, fast guys. So, it's helped, us be faster on that side of things. So, everybody talks about, what wheel's going to make me better? What pedals are going to make me better? And wheel and pedals do help, but not as much as getting out and racing with faster guys and, and asking questions. Hey, man, I'm coming in here and I'm losing time here. What am I doing wrong?
Right.
And, and we had guys like, Brad Haldane, DCJ, Stillwell. We had a lot of guys helping us out. So, in turn, if a guy asks me something, I try to help him out to the best of my knowledge. Not saying I'm the best out there, but I know some things.
Right, absolutely. There, and it's like when Thomas, when he hopped in, guys, it goes as simple as you ask a fast guy maybe to get on a team with you for an enduro race, and Thomas got in there. I watched his cockpit every time he was practicing to see what he was doing. He's quiet when he's driving. He's concentrating, so I'm not going to sit there and ask him 1,000 questions. But just having that out there and watching him drive and see the line he takes, just kind of study that's going to help you as well. So I think a lot of it, like I said, is just finding some fun guys that you get along with there. And I'll tell you another thing, just rip that out of my ear, is the NSRL. I've been running with them on Tuesdays. And with them being such a clean league, I mean, that is, I stress it so many times, but that is really one of the cleanest leagues I have ever called in my iRacing broadcasting career here. Really that I've ever seen on iRacing. And there's some stress there to be very clean. So not only are these guys fast, but they're not reckless. They're not pitching it in there. They're not pinching you off. So you've got to really be clean. You've got to be cautious, and you got to keep your speed up, because if not, they're just going to run you over.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of learning right there on Tuesdays in that one little hour and a half of practice, I say, or the racing that I do with the NSRL on Tuesday. So that's part of finding that. Don't go. You find a league that is just a complete S show, and give them a couple weeks. Some guys you gotta work through it. You might have some problems. So maybe these guys are starting their leagues. Don't run away from a new league just because it's new, though. You give them a few weeks to work out their problems. If it persists, though, run away. Run away fast, because it ain't going to get any better. I've seen a lot of these leagues that I have left that it's just like, well, you guys aren't even trying to make this better right here. It's just the good old boys, your good old boys club is racing, and that's all you care about. So you got to find your good leagues. You got to find your fun stuff. I don't think Slide Job Sunday's on tonight. I think we got an off week.
No, it's on tonight. I think, was it Fairbury for the 305s and Eldora for 360s.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
I think we're off for Thanksgiving week this week. I could be wrong. I wish John was on right now. If John ain't on, chances are we're on a vacation this week from Slide Job Sunday. Are you checking the www.iRacingMonsters of Dirt right now? He said, yes, sir, it's on.
Yeah.
There you go. So, yeah, Brad mentioned it right there. Broadcaster's nightmare. I am not looking forward to it. The new build here in iRacing has some great dirt content, but also, did you see what else is coming out here?
No, I didn't.
What's coming out here is did you ever play the 2003? The NASCAR Racing 2003? It was a virtual speedway, 3.5 mile maybe, 36-degree banking, and it is the Coca-Cola Speedway, the oval, 3-mile oval there. So don't wreck, please. I mean, you're going 240 down the straightaways into the turns. Don't wreck, please, because that's a broadcaster's nightmare. Imagine a yellow flag on a 3-mile oval.
Right. Chris Stanridge, you definitely need to come run with us tonight, man. You'll have a good time. It's a good league to run with, some fast guys. And while we're talking about Slide Job Sunday, I got to throw this out there. Hats off to JIR Sim Sports for taking on and adminning and pretty much running Slide Job Sundays for John at the Monsters of Dirt. and they've done a excellent job with it. They don't put up with no bull crap. You're out here to race, and they're doing great. I love the show on Sunday. It's great this year, and and I think the reason John did that is because John's running these leagues, and he's doing it on his own time. Taking away time from his family and his his wife and his kids and stuff that he could be doing with his family to give us a league to run in. So I don't think a lot of guys really appreciate all the behind the scenes stuff that John and all these other guys do to run these leagues. They're not getting paid to do this. This is something they're doing for free because they love to race and they love iRacing. And a lot of guys go in here and flame them and stuff like that. Well, if you think you can do better, go start your own league.
Well, a lot of guys try, and it doesn't last for very long.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, I really love Slide Job Sundays, and I think it's it's awesome. So,
but yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. To that extent, there. I mean, shout out to all the owners out there that are on here right now. I mean, Chris, Scott, John, all these guys, Brandon. These guys take these leagues, and the ones I just mentioned right there alone, those four, Kyle as well. I mean, they have multiple leagues or multiple series that these guys run. So I hear Scott because he's one of these guys that I talk to more often. But I'm going to say 80% of the time that I'll come in, I'll say, hey, what's going on? Oh, just working on some league stuff here. So, I mean, he's doing it like you said. I'm the one getting paid for it. I hate saying it like that, but.
And that's not how Scott sounds, ladies and gentlemen.
It's exactly how he sounds. It's Skippy Scott on YouTube. Check him out, YouTube Nation. We love Scott Schroeder over here. Scott, throw that YouTube link down in the description below. I know he's listening. Brad thought it was perfect. So no, that's that was another fun one. I'll tell you what. What was it? He said 90% of the time he's lazy. That's exactly. There's guys that sit there and do it at work. There, Scott thought it was good. He liked it. Poor Kim. I'll tell you what. So there it is. Scott_Shro74 iRacing. Check him out on YouTube. He does some fun stuff. You like to see a boomer run some iRacing? There's no better boomer on the iRacing platform. My buddy Scott Schroeder there. He said, you're not doing it right till your wife is angry. Trust me. But mine starts stomping on the floor, something like that. It's 9 o'clock at night. She's ready to go to bed, and she hears me. They're going too wide down to turn 1.
Brad Haldane.
Exactly. So no, and really, like I said, a shout out, a thanks to you guys. For doing that, because without you, a lot of these guys are just running officials, they're running hosted, and they're getting really mad here because let's put it like Downing. If Downing didn't have a league to be with, dude would be chat banned. He'd probably be iRacing banned. He'd be flipping his lid, and we keep him calm here in the league. He might get mad at us, but in a league, you can cuss at your buddies in a league. You can't do that in the officials. Chill out in the officials, guys. Exactly. Brooks Trammell, a slightly irritated wife, is a very entertaining, not interesting, because interesting could go either way. I like to say entertaining.
That is Tommy Boy's slogan. I've heard it several times.
So that's
and let me tell you, he does have a pretty entertaining life, because I went over there. What was it?
Thursday?
That was Thursday. That was Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. It was Wednesday.
Go over there, and Tommy Boy's standing there. Both of us are standing there talking to each other, and Graham's running around, and split second blink of an eye, he turned around, Graham done took a crayon and put a big mark on the wall. I mean, it was like a half second. It was done.
Right. Tim's doing it for the Sim Pit Lizards. Hey, there's some good ones out there.
He's in the stands at Knoxville.
the virtual BAAB, Aaron Brumbelow. I know he's out there doing it for his Sim fans. You got Dustin Sizemore doing it for the cheesecake. You got all these guys doing it for different reasons here in iRacing. But no, I think we really kind of take a turn now to at least here, I know my buddies down under, they're starting to get into racing, but down here it's a run off, and John says, as long as I help with the laundry, Mrs. Buzzer is always happy, and she's pregnant, so that goes a long way. She must be really laid back.
Hey, John, can I bring my laundry over too?
Yeah, I'll be happy.
Right.
I'll be happy as well. No, but we start to make that switch now to the off season here, and it's the on season, if you will, for iRacing. So I look forward to seeing the competition really go and get going. So, but we see our buddy Hayden, and he's leading the sprints now. So he already collects the late model championship, the 10, 15 grand, whatever that was, chump change for Hayden. And now he's going for the sprints, the 410s. Man, it's going to be close between, I think, him and Bergeron are like 1 point away from each other right now.
That's a couple fast guys too, man.
I mean, absolutely.
If you can go out there and race with either one of them guys, you're doing something.
Right. And I know, I think David Heilman, he was kind of a favorite, if I will, going into this. He's been very fast in those 410s there as well. So we'll see. Maybe he can pull it up. But you get Hayden on a run, man, good luck getting him off.
Yeah. I mean, that kid will fucking start with that.
Whoa! Whoa!
The F-bomb slips out.
And that's what he does. He puts it on in real life too. So he does. He's even got a win there real life. So it's fun to see what he's been able to do here this past year, both on the real track and sim world. But it'd be interesting to see if he can keep it going. And get Davin's he's fast. The bad thing about Davin, he's just inconsistent. He doesn't have that consistency. I think Hayden finds himself in the back of the pack and he keeps calm. Davin finds himself in the back of the pack, and it's like Hayden 2 years ago, from what I've heard, and it can get a little messy. So maybe just a year, because I think Davin is just a year or two younger than Hayden. I could be wrong there, but it just seems like maybe a little maturity between those two, and Davin would be right there with him because he's fast. He is. Yeah,
but both the Cardwell boys are fast.
Absolutely. So I bet David's even quick out there. But like I said, it's just I think a big part of being good in iRacing is also just being very patient, because I know like we talk about, because we run those 305s, the limiteds, things like that, where you really got to keep that momentum up, but still you got to be smooth. You got to be relaxed with it. You got to be calm and
be smooth. You got to be relaxed. You got to be calm.
You got to be wiser. Exactly. You'd have it, and Davin be right up there. So, I mean, that's my opinion there on the Cardwells. I need to really get more, dig a little deeper here into the sprint here now as we roll around to the off season. And the NASCAR E-Series already kicking off. They're already back underway with their next season. So interesting to watch those guys get back at it and get a chance at $100,000 there.
Yep. I'll tell you right now, where I need practice on iRacing is driving in the slick, man. That's my bugaboo right now, is driving in the slick.
Man, those guys last night at Knoxville, there was a guy that I swear he was down about as low as you can go. He's just riding the wall, almost down on the low side. Usually you don't see wall riding on the low side, but that was the only place dirt was left on the track at the end of it.
Dude, they were driving on Knoxville, how you exit the pit.
On the berm, like exactly. Berm. They were driving up on it. That's what I was watching. That is good. They will be on tomorrow night at 9, I think. Oh, the NASCAR, yeah. Or either that or the sprints. I don't know which one he was talking about. Maybe next season about busting in a line of a level of competition with Slick Sim. Ooh, that'd be interesting there. That's Hayden. That'd be pretty tough to get up there with the likes of Hayden there. So he's gonna have a little work on his hands. I'm not gonna lie. Travis is a good driver, but I don't know if he's up to that just yet. We'll see.
Okay, World Outlaw Sprints is
Yep.
what Brooks is talking about.
Okay, so yeah, hey, I'll watch Hayden there wheel it down tomorrow. We'll see what he can do there. So
I'll be racing.
Well, yeah, but you can pull it up. That's a good thing about having it recorded on Facebook here.
That is true. That is true. We got anything else, Tommy boy?
Oh, I got you. I thought he was saying he was going to get right up there with 6. I was going to say that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. I can't think of anything else. Perez, he's on fire. Perez is on fire. Perez is on fire. Uh-oh. So, yep, that is all we got here, I believe, for you today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Checkers and Wreckers.
Hey, and real fast, if you need any powder coat work done, hit up our buddy Dwayne Elwanger. He's got all you need on the powder coat and fast turnaround times, too.
Those tees, he made a net, pitching net. If you got any sports needs out there, hit him up because this guy, he's a fabricator. He can do it all. And a big shout out to all the other sponsors here with us. We got Talk to Tucker, Shawn.nugent, the Rockstar Realtor, slapping the bass.
Yep. Slapping the bass.
We got John Buzzard over there at First Financial Bank, Abruzzi Racewear USA, ButtKicker, Gamer 2, Auralex Acoustics, Monsters of Dirt, HRT, ECRS, NSRL, all of these guys, Outcast Racing.
And big shout out too. We forgot this. Should have done this at the beginning of the show. Big shout out to Nate Mayhem Manus on a great win last night, man. In UFC, his second fight in the UFC, and that was a performance.
Absolutely, there. Gotta love that. Kind of a little personal BW Sports 1 tie to the UFC world there. So Dan DeLion out there, a little buddy of Dan's, Nate Manus taken. And after that fight last night, I know we're not going to cover this, but after that, I really think Nate's going to really climb up through the UFC here. It'll be fun to watch.
I do too.
So I'm here to remind you to drive fast, shift hard, keep that rubber on the road, guys. We'll have a good one. You guys enjoy the Sunday here. Maybe a little Thanksgiving leftovers. Maybe you're just enjoying your Thanksgiving today. Guys, we are thankful for you, each and every one of you guys out there. Thanks so much for tuning in here to check.